required.
Kyle, you think you'll ever want to have kids?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
my
couple
dad's
rascals.
He says it's the reason
running around.
to be alive. I don't know. I don't see it yet.
He said what?
He said it's the reason to be alive, but that's sounds like some shit a dad would say.
Does sound like something a dad would say. Yeah, I've got a couple friends that I've heard behind the scenes have said, like, does Russillo not understand it? Like, this is what life's about, the sacrifice your parents made for you, that you have to make that same sacrifice. I had another friend that after he'd had kids, he had them pretty late. And he said, God, I almost want to write my parents a letter and go, sorry, this sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I love my neighbors. So far, so good, by the way, on the neighbors. Although we had a slight disturbance last night about 3:30 a.m. Thought I was going to have to. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I thought my car was getting broken into. And I went out there, but I didn't go out there to escalate it. I couldn't make sense of it. One way or the other, up or down. I had no idea what was going on. So I said, we're just going to let this one ride out. I slept terrible, and then I pulled my back in the middle of the Kilborn interview. So that's where I'm at right now. But 5 Advil later and maybe a light movement workout, some torso stuff. We'll see how we do. But yeah, the neighbor, he's got a young kid with him, and I'm getting along with everybody pretty well. And I don't know. I was just trying to make conversation, and I was like, "How old is he?" He's like, "Oh, he's 7." I went, "Oh, that's a great age." And then
full of shit.
I know. I don't know why I said it that way, but I don't know. It was everything that I hate about cocktail hour conversation, and not that every conversation in the cocktail hour is terrible.
Was his next question, "Oh, do you have kids?"
No, he knows I don't have any kids. He's been living next to me, and we have a mutual friend, so he kind of knows my background. He's not huge into sports, but he understands. When I moved in, and then a couple of guys were like, "Wait a minute, Russillo's living here," and so, and by the way, not to dismiss all cocktail conversation because some of it is very good. I'll share one with you. On a vacation, was with a friend, and we were having some day drinks, and we were it was kind of a divey spot, but let's just say the regulars were not afraid of the daytime hours, and they started spraying the infield with some whiskeys, and we were kind of looking at each other like, I don't know, like this could mess up the night. Like this might not be a good idea, but we'll pace ourselves, and then we'll see how the crew's doing. And then one guy turned it down, and we're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And guys were kind of like, what? Oh, you don't want anything? He's like, no, I'm an alcoholic. We're like, what? Like, why are you? Okay, like, what's going on? Why are you here at a dive bar in the middle of the day? He's like, I used to hang out here all the time. I don't want to miss anything.
He's invested.
It was the most amazing answer I've ever heard. Maybe on any topic. We were dying laughing. It was the fight because it was so sincere. He was like, what? He's like, I don't drink, but he goes, these are my buddies, and I want to miss out on this good conversation. We're like, that's amazing. Good for you, man. So yeah, I dropped because a lot of times, like if you had met somebody, I'm just trying to think of it's just how people want to be included in the topic. It happens all the time with different stuff, right? No matter what it is, no one ever goes, I'm not as familiar with that subject, so I will sit this one out. Like, it's just not the way life works. It's not the way people talk. So I don't know why I'm more likely to go, I don't know what you're talking about. So I have nothing to add because there's so many people that I hear talking about stuff that I'm invested in that I don't know what they're talking about. But yet I was like 7. Oh, that's a good age. That's a good age. And then I've even said, like, just before they become a jerk, and then the dad will look at you like, what are you, an asshole? Like, my kid's not going to be a jerk. Like, oh, but then I remember where I was at when I was 7. I started really, I think I started really sizing the world up. Remember my family, we moved. My mother was like, do you want to stay in the same elementary school until 3rd grade? Or do you want to just jump right in? I go, let's get this over with. I'm like, let's shake it up a little bit. I'm like, what do we get? 6 weeks to go in 2nd grade? I'm like, I'm good. Like, let's do this. She was like, really? I go, yeah. Let's just time to move on, Mom.
Off the Band-Aid.
Yeah. Let's not look in the rear view. All right. She's just like, who is this guy? Okay. All right, we got a few here, Kyle. I may include you in a couple of these. All right, I think I'm going to leave a name out here. Hey, Kyle and Ryan, I'm balding, an aristocrat, 5'8", but not skinny fat. Okay, good. 1 out of 3 is good. Moved to a new house, 4 roommates at the beginning of August. My work tends to be a bit isolating, so I like to live with people for some basic human interaction. Oh, that's cool. It's good for my finances. It's also that too. None of us knew each other beforehand. I'm starting to sense that one of the guys and girls are sleeping together. She's been here since mid-July, but he's only been in the city for like 3 weeks, but mostly are stuck at home due to COVID restrictions, limiting the number of people they've met. On one hand, I'm sympathetic because of this. On the other hand, for similar reasons, I fully expect this to self-combust in the next few months, making the whole house toxic. And while I'm deeply disinterested in telling other people how to live their lives, I fear that at some point this will become a source of annoyance for me. How would you approach this? I wouldn't have roommates. Do I try to intervene? So I'll give you that answer real quick. Do I try to intervene before it gets too serious, risking that I could be wrong and cause the toxicity myself, or do I just lay back and slay the hell out of every? Oh, I thought it said. I was like, "Geez, dude."
Oh wow.
No. Because do I try to intervene before it gets too serious, risking I could be wrong and cause the toxicity, or do I just lay back and stay the hell out of everyone, minimizing the toxicity I may experience in the future? Yeah, you can't tell them what to do, man. It may be your house and it may be your finances, but that's you decided to have roommates, said it's good for your finances, and if it's a co-ed dorm, you're running over there, things are going to happen, and especially during a pandemic. So I don't think you have the right, even though it's your house, to tell people who they can or can't hang out with inside the house. And yeah, it's probably going to suck when it goes south. But
don't want to be that
6 month leases. Yeah, what would you do there, Kyle? Kyle, what if you were the guy? What if you were the guy and the dude that you were renting a room from was like, you can't hang out with Sarah?
Well, all of a sudden you become that guy. Like you're the worst guy if you're that guy. Don't be that guy.
Which guy?
The guy that's telling people not to. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, you don't have really much of a choice there.
You're like the asshole on one of those Judge Judy shows. It's like, is this guy serious? He's suing him for that?
I would love to do the Judge Judy screenshot where I don't have to hear a word either person says, and you just look at the two people next to each other and you go guilty and just blink test of any of those judge shows and go guilty, and how often you would be accurate. Somebody must have done that.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody has it.
Gotta be an Instagram account out there.
Okay, this is the J-Man checking in. I'm 29, I'm dating, never had any issues at bars or meeting new girls. My issue's commitment. I've been single for 8 years now. My last relationship was horrific, aged 19 to 21. Man, that's pretty young. Horribly volatile and toxic, unfaithful, lies, and friends and families became heavily involved in relationship dynamics. Ew, that age, geez. I'll spare you the details of the breakup, but it was a 10 out of 10 bad time. Okay, all right.
Yeah, dude.
I definitely am scared from this experience, fearful of the emotional investment I put in, albeit at an age when I was much less mature and cared too much about the wrong things in a relationship. She was the hottest girl I'd ever been with, blah, 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 blah. Okay, man, got it. Been there. I'm routinely faced with the same cycle when meeting new girls. I can't emotionally commit. They become tiresome, part ways. I still enjoy getting to know new people. The chase of a platonic interaction, it is fun. That stuff is fun. And the company, however, I prefer the company to be temporary. To say I've revealed my fullest self to a girl since said breakup due to trust issues would be entirely untrue. Good sentence right there. I wasn't expecting that sentence to be that good, so I murphed it a bit at the end. I feel most secure amongst my family and my boys, and I'm not sure this will ever change. Hey, bro. Right there with you. I listened to you talk about 2002. Again, my worst year, the worst year pod. You can find that one. And I can't help but see myself potentially following the same emotional trajectory. I'm a far better person with perspective of my past relationship failures, and that exposure has been vital to my development as a person. Why risk anxiety and my own comfort just to follow the conventional lifestyle of marriage and parenthood? My question, geez. Okay, good. At what point after 2002 do you become comfortable with the path you've chosen for the status of your current personal life? What triggers were most prominent in your decision to be alone? Or is this something you merely played day by day? When you interact with new people, do you keep an open mind, or are you always cognizant of the likely finishing point? Most importantly, am I crazy for trying to solve this now? Okay. There's a lot going on there, buddy. So, you had a breakup. It was really bad. You were 19, you were 21. Some would say maybe you got it out of the way. Maybe you got your bad one out of the way. Like when I meet somebody who's I would say when I was younger, it's not like I'm interacting with too many people in their 20s anymore, other than, maybe a work thing from now and then. But, I remember somebody I hung out with was like, "Oh, I've never ever had a bad breakup." And I was like, "All right, congrats." Like, I didn't know there was some fucking contest here where we're all trying to keep that stat line clean, like strikeouts or something. So I know I'll share a little bit here. I know that like the first person I cared about was kind of a carryover from high school, and it was into college, and she was coming up to visit me in college. And what I didn't realize was that she was coming up to visit me to hook up with my roommate. So she would sleep in my bed, and then I would fall asleep, and then she would crawl up into his loft. And then
What?
that was, yeah. And I didn't know about it. She would crawl back down into mine because I was clearly friend zoned, didn't know any better, thought spooning was cool because I cared about the person. But that was, and again, this is a little weird, like a sports guy sharing sort of the intimacy of this, but I'm just going to explain it to you. So that was something I didn't even know was happening. I think it happened 2 or 3 times. And then that Christmas, I was home on break, and I had said to a mutual friend, like, "Hey, I think it's going really well. She wants to come up and visit me again." And I was really excited. And then the girl was like looking at me, and she just put her head down, and she goes, "I got to tell you something. The only reason she's going up there isn't to visit you. You're like she's using you to go visit the roommate. And it's been going on every time she goes to visit you. And you just, I guess, are a really deep sleeper." And I was like, wow. That fucked me up for a long time. Okay. Because at that point, I was like, wait, this is how it works? Like, somebody can do this to another person that knows that they care about them? Like, it took me a really long time to not be like, fuck this.
Word.
And you know what it was? It was a real waste of time, because that was that one person that did something really shitty to me. Okay. And this isn't really insightful, other than you can let that one person dictate the next few years like I did and waste all this time. And then you go into every relationship after that damage. You just go, hey, I opened up. It didn't work out. They did some really awful, awful stuff to me. And it made me be awful to people because somebody was awful to me. I was like paying it forward with bad stuff. Like, okay, now I don't care. Now I'm going to close in. Now I'm not going to open up to people. Now I'm going to assume you're cheating on me, so I'm not going to care. And by the way, like, college relationships are stupid anyway. They really are. They just are such a massive, massive waste of time. But let that toxicity make me become toxic with everybody else. And anybody that goes through the breakup, anybody that goes through this kind of stuff, you will always, I guarantee you, there are very few things I can guarantee, but I will guarantee you that when you get over whatever you're going through after the breakup or that bad relationship, you are going to be so mad at yourself for wasting the amount of time that you did thinking about it, replaying it in your head. We had another life advice that I'm not going to get to, where the guy was like, "Hey, I got dumped, blah, 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 blah. Not sure what to do. I'm trying to get her back, but every time I try," it's like, no, that's why the line in Swingers is absolutely perfect at the end of Swingers, where their Big Mike is talking to Rob Livingston, and Rob's like, "Look, you can't, everything you're doing right now is only going to make her go further away. You can't think about her." Okay. But the problem is that once you stop thinking about her, they know, and then they reach out, and then they talk to you again. Now, I'm also on TV, so I'm not going to say that to be a dick. I'm saying it to cut through the BS of that. Yes, I've had probably more callback down the road to be like, "Hey, actually, I regret this, this, or this," because I've put myself in a position to be desirable, if that even makes any sense. And that's how I kind of just look at the world. Like, okay, hey, is this person a good option? Is this person a bad option? All right, this person's a good option. I'm going to catch up with them and see what's going on. So really, what all of the bad stuff did, and this was all pre 2002, this was like 10 years, 9 years before that, and then 2002, the bad year, and the failed engagement and all of this stuff, what it did was it motivated me to want to kick so much ass professionally, because I was so mad about so many different things that there was nothing that was going to stop me. Like, it's cool, but do you really want to do it all by yourself? Yes, I did, but I didn't have to. I didn't have to stay isolated to be successful. I chose to be. So there you go. I don't want to do another one after that. So please subscribe, rate, and review the Ryen Russillo podcast and the Ringer Podcast Network. And we will talk to you with Raja Bell on Thursday.